Hello, everyone. Today is one of the most favorite topics, which is the test purchase. For me personally, it is not a big surprise that most of the stones which you see on TV shows, YouTube channels, Instagram profiles, and even online shops are not what they are claimed to be. There are heaps of fake gems, synthetic or treated gemstones, which are sold for the prices of the natural and untreated ones. However, as I can see from hundreds of messages which I keep receiving daily, not many people are aware of that yet. Dozens of people send me links to the internet shops or screenshots of a gemstone and a price asking for my advice or help or explanation why this kind of gemstone is cheaper than it is supposed to be. If it is a good deal or not, if you can trust the seller or not. For example, just recently a few dozen of you sent me the link to the Instagram profile of the shop, which is called Silverstone Russ. I had a very quick look at the prices and told people who had asked me that it was 100% fakes. The price for the gemstones they describe cannot be so low due to various factors. However, not many of those people believed my level of professionalism and started to argue. They're like, why do you think it is a fake? Why are you so sure? Maybe you just don't want to sell gemstones for cheaper prices yourself and so on. Or, how can you tell just by looking at the picture? I don't get offended at all because I'm very much used to all those types of questions or arguments. I know that many of you believe that the internet shop is trustworthy because they use very expensive equipment to make the photo of the stones, or they paid properly to the web designer and the interface or Instagram page looks very professional and the photos of the owners look very decent. It just cannot be a fraud, you think. Everything looks too good. So as usual, instead of arguing with those who don't believe me, I decided to prove my words with actions. Therefore, I just ordered a few stones from that shop. We decided to play big and ordered 2 sets at once. Why not? I can afford that. In the first set, we see so-called emeralds. 3 pieces. The width is 1 centimeter and 40 millimeters, and the length is 1 centimeter. And I also decided to buy the star sapphire. The first set price was about $60, and the second set of precious and super rare blue star sapphires cost me about $80. Those of you, my friends, who have been with me for quite a long time already know the answer. However, there were people who still tried to prove their point of view and persuade me that those people sell real, true, natural, untreated precious emeralds and star sapphires for less than $100. And again, the main argument from them was that the internet shop looks too professional to be a fake. I still wonder why people believe the expensive appearances. It looks like if someone is wearing a Dolce & Gabbana costume and driving Maybach, then they are 100% honest people and fluffy bunnies who wouldn't lie to you. That is not true, my dear friends. But who am I to judge? You don't have to believe my words, but you have to believe the gemology laboratory certificate. So let's have a look at what we have here, written in black and white. This one was issued by the MSU Gemological Center in Moscow. You can see that it is properly signed and protected with a special watermark. And in the upper left corner, you can see the number. I will explain in detail for those who are not familiar with the procedure of reading the gemological certificate. This number, you need to check the information about your gemstone on the website of the laboratory which issued this certificate. So you just jump on the website, input the number, and see if this gemological test was actually run by the mentioned laboratory. You will also need a date when the test was done. This method helps you to avoid fraud when people get some randomly printed out certification which is not confirmed by the laboratory on their online resources. And in the modern certificate, there is even a QR code which does exactly the same job but quicker. So let's check. Do you see the photo of the ring on the certificate? It is exactly the same one which I have in my hands right now. We can't see the star actually right now because we are sitting in the apartment and the light is very dim. However, I honestly checked the star. It is really there if you go outside where there is more light. So no misleading in that at least. Now let's see what they write about the stone in the laboratory. It says, a synthetic sapphire. And the price of such a stone is probably $1, maximum $2. The second case is even more interesting. Hang on. Let's do the whole procedure all over again. As you can see, here is the number, so you can just go online and check it by yourself if you want. Here is the date if you need that. Also, you can zoom to scan QR code to double-check it if you're curious, and I do encourage you to do so. Just one moment. I will zoom it so you could definitely scan it. Yes, now that's better. Now just the visual check, well, it looks exactly the same way as in the picture. Let me zoom it in. As you can see already, it's really heartbreaking to call such a piece of green pebble an emerald. However, they claimed it to be it. And the certificate says that this stone has nothing to do with emeralds as it is a natural selemonite. It is not even a beryl glazed with glass, which is the most common type of emerald forgery, or a treated and glazed piece of corundum. It is just a totally and absolutely different type of stone. However, let's not jump to the conclusions. Who knows? Maybe it is a really precious stone. Let's read what do we have here in comments. It says, I will translate it for you, that this piece of stone is also treated. If to be specific, it is colored. Let's have another quick look. There are signatures and stamps and everything that you need to verify the certificate. So as you can see, I am definitely not trying to take you in. So I guess there is nothing much to discuss about the star sapphire, which is just a synthetic one, and therefore it is a boring type of case. However, we could discuss this selemonite a little bit. Let's have a look at how it is presented in a natural form. This is photo number 1. This is photo number 2. And finally, photo number 3. Pay close attention, please. As you can see with your own eyes, this kind of stone looks more like a rock rather than the gemstone. Just for you to compare, I will show you what beryl stone looks like. This kind of stone is also often colored and glazed to be sold as an emerald. But I would say that it is a bit prettier way to fake an emerald. So have a look at the pictures. Those beryls are very low quality, and they are usually used to create a fake emerald. This is also a type of a beryl. And another one. This one looks pretty though. I would even buy it actually, just because I like stones with fancy inclusions. However, in our case, they didn't even buy a beryl. They took some kind of rock, painted it, glazed it with glass and sold it as a real emerald. Can we call it a fraud? Relying on my previous education and jurisdiction, I would say yes. Can you try to sue those people? I would say yes, absolutely. So we tried to communicate with them. Just let me find where I have this chat among thousands of other chats which are open on my phone. So we told them that your stones appeared to be fake. And they responded, why do you think so? So we just sent them the certificate. As you can guess, there were not many moves left for them after it. They tried to find a way around explaining that we as a buyer hadn't asked about the origin of the stone, and they perceived this type of sapphire as a grown one, not a natural. However, you won't find even a hint of its artificial origin of a stone in their product description or advertisements or posts. Regarding selemonites, they try to persuade me that it is actually super rare and highly valuable stone, which is even better than beryl. However, they agreed to accept the stones back and return the money. We haven't attempted it yet. However, I have a suspicion that no money would be returned. So I asked a few more questions, like how I was supposed to understand that your emerald is not actually a real emerald and a sapphire is not actually a natural sapphire? And who is going to reimburse the money which was spent on certifications and on the logistic? And they never cared to try to offer me compensation for that kind of expenses or inconveniences, as they claimed that the certification is our initiative and they would provide the information about their origin or treatment by request. So according to their logic, when you buy a stone, let's say an emerald, you shall ask your seller, are you sure that it is an emerald, or maybe it is something else? Maybe it is just a pebble or a rock covered with glass or paint? Again, they claim that their stones are not fake, they're just treated. However, the treated emerald is still a real emerald, which would be proven by the laboratory. It would be just treated with oil, for example. The treated sapphire is normally the sapphire which was heated, or glazed with glass. All of these examples shall be clearly pointed out when the stone is being sold. In our case, we had one stone which is not a treated natural sapphire, but an artificial sapphire, which are two different things. And we had a selemonite, which also has nothing to do with any emerald, be it high, medium, or low quality. They tried to share with me the screenshot where there were very specific forms of abbreviation which might help the reader to understand that the stone is artificially created. However, I am 100% sure that the post was edited just to send the screenshot to me, because after our conversation, it was deleted from the account at all. I also saved the screenshot of the emerald, which I had bought. There it was described as a natural emerald, and as you saw it, is 100% not true. Let's scroll a little bit. Another sapphire with a star. Also, no mention that this is an artificially grown one, even though I am sure they are. One more example. And again, no mentions of artificial origin. One more gorgeous set of rubies and emeralds, and again, no mention that these are not actual rubies or emeralds. One more example with some huge earrings made in a very weird design. Again, no comments on the origin of stones. And the last one for you to see today is a couple of beautiful and insanely cheap natural emeralds. So it is 100% forgery. And yes, you could try to get your money back and go to court. However, I guess it would cost you much more money, time, and effort than both of these sets. So, on the one hand, I could just leave those and similar types of guys alone without exposing them. However, they are actually harming not just people who buy from them, but also affect the general reputation of gemstone sellers. Like me, for example. Because when you see that the natural emerald can cost $50, would you believe that it can be actually sold for $10,000 or $100,000? Of course not. So some start to blame me for selling the stones too expensive, and suspecting me of forgery, which is a very sweet idea to believe in, especially if you want to trust someone who kindly asks just a few dozen of dollars for a precious stone. It's just one example among hundreds. I chose this specific account just because, as I told you before, I had got many inquiries and complaints associated with it from you. So I decided to speak the truth in order to minimize the negative effect of that little entrepreneurship in the future. And I would also ask personally the guys who are doing that kind of business, please be honest with your buyers. Because people who spent those $50, $70, or $100 are not very rich people, obviously. You are probably taking the last money from naive folks who just wanted to make a nice present for their wives or daughters or grandpas and grandma and so on. This is not cool at all, and this is not worth it. So that's it for today. Stay safe, take care of yourself, and be reasonable. See you later. Bye-bye.